Namaskar. We are assembled once again here in the company of Prajnanpurush, Prajnanpurush, SriSriBabathakur. Once again, we will have the privilege of listening to his words. Basically, people like us who are really leading a life that is comprised of all the worldly feelings, all the worldly objects, and seldom we find any time to look into ourselves. The conscience that is intermingled with every single human being, and to make us aware of the existence of that inner I. Here we have a person who is to take care of all our drudgeries of life, all anxieties, all tormentations, all fears, and definitely it's a privilege for all of us who you are listening to us and viewing this program. In fact, here also we are four of us. We have Sri Lahiri from the corporate world. We have Mr. Vishnu Sankar from the media, having a vast experience in journalism. He is holding a key position in Z.com. Also we have Mr. Jogesh, having a mass communication degree, and he had been to the corporate world, and right now he is with the Planman group. He is the general manager of the Sunday India. And I'm here as usual with the company of us. We have SriSriBabathakur. Once again, he will be telling us his own feelings to us, to enlighten us, the way only he can perhaps, and make us aware of our real being. Who is to start the question in this session?
As you know, Babathakur, we have been living in a world where a lot of anxiety, problems, and we have been listening to all the answers when you were asking. Can we have some basic 10 to 15 points in our day-to-day life which we can follow, and then we can put it on a piece of paper so that we can, because as you know, especially in our life, especially in the media life, we come across a lot of problems in our professional life. So can we, if at all, if we have to put it on a point wise, can we have some 10 to 15 points so that we can follow these 15 points, and then we have a basic time structure that after following up of these 15 points, you would be able to achieve this?
One thing, the inner evolution of life starts from the external nature and ends completely in the transcendental nature. But our day-to-day life's problem, that is our worldly problems, starts from the physical level to the intellect, because it is limited up to intellect. So the need of physical body, vital, mental, intellectual, are quite distinct from one another. Problems are created in the physical plane, in the mental, in the vital, and in the intellectual. Now, we use the senses. The senses are 10 in number, 5 active senses, the sense organ of action, and 5 organs of perception, knowledge. Problems are developed only when we forget something and when we are expecting so many things which we cannot fulfill, and problems of other things just like want of money, disease, old age, and similar other so many things. Now, to solve all the problems at a time is not possible. We have to first know the cause of the problem of physical, vital, mental, intellectual. Physical problems are made, solved by some sorts of activities and thoughts. Vital by some sorts of activities, mental by some thoughts and activities, and intellectual by some thoughts and activities. And some formulas can be made, but not for all, but for particular person, according to the nature of the problem. So, the nature of the problems are not equal always. They are different from one another, and time to time they change their nature. Now, the remedy for that is that problems of our own being, problems of other members, problems of money, problems of so many other things. So, we first should be conscious about the nature of the problem and the characteristics of the problems, so that we can try to solve that. But no problem can be solved in the worldly life perfectly and completely, because one problem, when is solved, so many problems are made out of one. Now, one thing is that one disease is cured and some other diseases are there. Similarly, one problem is solved, the other problems will. Problems are made owing to the deficiency of our capacity, our ability, our skill, and our right understanding. So, for want of all these things, nobody can make any problem solved. To solve the problems, we require adequate knowledge, experience, and one thing is the stability of mind, patience, endurance, patience, and forgiveness, and faith. All these things are not equal always. Sometimes one faith is affected by others. One concept is disturbed by others. One attempt is made lost owing to so many causes. Now, problems will remain so long as we are not conscious about our true nature, which is permanent. And day to day, we experience that what is a problem today is not a problem of tomorrow. What is defect of today is not a defect of tomorrow. Because our day-to-day life is in the course of change, spontaneous change is there. So, how to get over all such changes? There cannot be so perfect a formula for the worldly life to overcome all sorts of problems. But we can attempt, we can take so many attempts and endeavor, but all are not perfect, all are not fruitful. Now, problems remain as it is. Our understanding when is changed. Problem cannot overcome us. But if we cannot develop such understanding, the problem will hunt and disturb us. And now, the one thing is that neither our physical, nor vital, nor mental, nor intellectual plane can be self-sufficient without the help of the others. All these are changeable always. And up to intellect, the changes are always there. We cannot stop the changes. We have to fight against these. Why? Because we think all these are responsible for our troubles, miseries in life. Problems is a problem for the mind. When mind is changed, problem is not effective. So, to solve the problem, we require first the preparation of the mind, the change of the mind under all circumstances. How is it possible? Mind can be changed only with the help of the right understanding by right practice. So, righteousness should be practiced from the childhood. How? If we can follow the guidance of our superior, then we can easily overcome so many problems, because the elderly people will always help us with their experience, and their experience is superior to that of the younger one. Now, the problems of the elderly people, they require some support or some guidance from others. They ask other people to help them under some troubles, conditions and problems. But no problem can be solved without any right understanding. It is the only right understanding which can remove all our problems. And right understanding comes direct from the right man, who is perfectly experienced and perfectly realizer. So, one thing is that one who is badly suffering from so many things requires first guidance direct from right man. So, when we are in problem, we should at least try to find out some right man. If not, then we can at least pray within ourselves. And if the prayer is sincere and full of intense hours, then the innocent voice will help us. Our conscience will help us. And other help from outside will come automatically without seeking that for. And another thing, we can mechanically practice so many things. For example, tolerance, patience, and forgiveness, and compassion, love. That would help to some extent. Another thing is that we should try to practice Raddison, that is silence for some hours in a day. That is Maunata. It will give you some inner power to tolerate. It will help the power of tolerance. And another thing is that if I consider that problem is no problem at all, it is a test for me, so that I can and we can easily overcome that. When problem is not considered to be seriously one, then we can avoid that.
So you are saying, Babathakur, that tolerance and of things are very much possible to overcome when one can have daily practice of at least keeping himself or herself in silence, so that
Relaxation. If you practice relaxation, you will get inner power to overcome all this thing, and your understanding will develop more and more to solve the problems by yourself. You won't require a need the help from outside. And one thing is that when problems arise for the physical body, then you should observe one day fasting. One day fasting you can take only water and nothing else. No meal at all. Only water.
You were suggesting one should go for a fast.
Fasting. If your physical condition is not controlled, then fasting will help you much without taking medicine and other things. If it is for the mind, then you should try to help your friends, your relatives, as much as you can. Then your mental worries and mental debilities will be over. And if the problems is for the intellect, then you should keep complete silence and relaxation for 2 or 3 days. Then it will be over. Simple process of this. All these are helpful to get rid of the petty problems, and the stronger one can be overcome by the grace from within and above. And until unless grace comes from within, it will not be overcome. So, to have the grace from within, you are to become more conscious about your inner being rather than outer being. So, problems are your mental, not your real one. That is vichar. The real and the unreal. The real and the unreal. If you discriminate the real from the unreal, then unreal will drop. It will not disturb you more. All problems are unreal. They are temporary. They are coming and going. There cannot be any problem which is permanent, lifelong, beginning from the end. No, there cannot be such problem. The only problem is that ego. Ego is a problem, which is always concerned with the finite, not with the complete or perfect.
That you are saying with regard to a personality, I mean person to person, that the problem is
the problem is the sense of individual.
today, yes, sense of individual. Tomorrow that problem may not be there. But this kind of thing can be compared with respect to a country also?
Yes, because country consists of so many individuals. So when individual is conscious about this, then other individual will also follow this. If one individual is benefited, other can be benefited. Just like if one medicine can help one, that medicine can help others also. And another thing is that when you are in very trouble, you can avoid your company, the friends, companies, because they would not be able to remove your agonies, but will develop that by talking this way and that way. So you try to avoid them and live alone. The loneliness, aloneness will help you much.
Babathakur, I started counting, but finally took my hands off. Within this short span, how many times you uttered this word problem? Why is it that even if a problem is solved, you said that some other problem will crop up?
Yes.
Why in our life we have to live with problems? We are surrounded by problems in
because
many
problems
spheres.
comes owing to the forgetfulness of our true nature. Mind is of the nature of forgetfulness, because forgetfulness is one of the basic point of mind. Mind is consists of 10 points. One is calm, desire, sankalpa, resolution, vichikitsa, doubt, and fortitude, dhriti, non-fortitude or dhriti. And then Hri means shyness, Bhi means fearfulness, Dhi means talent, and agony, worries. All these points are characteristics of mind. So if we can think the opposite of this,
And all these things are contributing to raise our problems.
Yes, this constitutes the mind. If I can transcend the mind, all this will be overcome. That means if we think opposite of this thought, because it is in the mind. So when there is no mind at all, then no problems at all. You have to divert yourself.
Yeah, but how do we resolve the problems? I mean, like you said that the problem is there with respect to an individual, the problem can be there with respect to a country. I mean, if I ask...
All problems belong to mind. Don't forget it.
Then how do we resolve it, Babathakur?
Because if I do not care for the mind, if I care for the consciousness itself, not the mind is the reflection of consciousness, consisting of 10 points. If I don't give any indulgence to 10 points, then all these 10 points will be subdued automatically.
But if the other side of the person or the other part of the country, if I give you a very example, we have a problem for the last 50 years, Jammu and Kashmir. The other side of the problem...
One thing is that when I consider that I am suffering from this problem, so if I can think opposite to this, then I can overcome it. Because when I think of myself as one of those sufferers, then I'll be affected. If I know that I am the only witness, I am not the sufferer, because suffers the mind, not the self. Self cannot suffer.
So we should not consider this as a problem. This is what you are trying to say.
Yes. If you wanted to overcome that, but in a mass scale, it will not be possible in one day. Because all the mind should be tuned like this. Then the problem will not be there. It is owing to the presence of the mind that we consider this to be a problem. But when there is no mind, the problem is not. As for example, when you are asleep, you don't think about the Kashmir and other things. One thing is that objective problem will be there always. It will not be all perfect because it belongs to mind. But when we know that we are not mind, nor we have a mind, we are beyond mind, then nothing of the mind can disturb me. मन से अपना को उठाना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारी ध्यान दूसरा चीज पर लगाएगा तो डाइवर्शन आ जाएगा. The more you can divert your mind, the more problem will be over. तो simple thing है, ऐसी है.
If I have understood you correctly, Babathakur, when I am faced with a problem, the more I put my mind on the problem, the more the problem starts affecting me.
Yes.
The more I take my mind away from the problem gradually, the problem is taken care of itself by itself. But I feel that I am doing it when I put my mind into it. When I don't
if it does not get the food, it will
die its own death.
But if facing a problem, we try to take our hands off from that and trying to make it so that I'm not affected by the problem, then people around me will simply say that you're running away from your life.
Each and every individual has the birthright to get rid of his own problem first, then the problem with others. So why should you not try to overcome yourself first? All troubles, then you will get such power to overcome that of others. But so long as you are affected by your own one, then you are not able to overcome that of others. कि अपना प्रॉब्लम आप खुद सॉल्व नहीं कर सकता, दूसरा को कैसे सॉल्व करेंगे? इसीलिए कहा कि पहले तो अपना को संभालो, उसके बाद दूसरा को. तो बात यही है कि ये each and every individual has the birthright to save himself first, because he is more concerned about himself than others, than with others. So अपना को हमारी देशवाली को एक बाधा है, वो चाचा आप अपना प्राण को पहले तो बचा, तो खुद हम नहीं जिंदा रहेगा तो दूसरा को चिंतन कैसे करेंगे? इसीलिए कहा कि आत्मान विद्धि, नो thyself first, then you will be able to know others also. If you are perfect, then you can make others perfect. But if you are not perfect, then how can you make others perfect? बेकार है दूसरा को चिंतन करते जब हम लोग खुद, मैं भी है अनाड़ी, I cannot solve myself, my own problem. How can I solve that of others?
But his point was that he is looking at it in a slightly different fashion. He says that if I do not take care of the problem, then people around me will say that you are running away from the problem.
देखो, हर आदमी हर कुछ भी कर सकता है, लेकिन कोई किसी को हेल्प नहीं कर सकता, खाली बात से उसको स्ट्राइक कर सकता है। ऐसी ही है हमारे समाज का व्यवस्था। कोई भूखा मरता है, कोई देखता भी नहीं। जो अच्छा भी खाना खाता था उसको, अरे ये क्या, उसको पैसा चोरी करके पैसा कमाया। तो ये समाज के लिए हमारी जो भावना है ये तो बेकार है। If I do not exist at all, why should I bother about all others? तो कोई समाज में ऐसी है, परिवार में भी ऐसी है, हमारी अदर 4 members है। If I cannot exist, how can I think of others? If I am not well enough, how can I think of others good? इसीलिए कहा कि अपना को संभलना पहले चाहिए। हर शास्त्रों में, हर जाति में ये चीज पहले भी कहा। हाँ, ये दोष, इसमें कोई दोष नहीं है। देखो, आदमी तो बोध भी कर सकता है। जब हम हमारी अवस्था भी दुर्बल हो जाता है, कमजोरी हो जाता है, तब बोध आदमी हमको सुनाते हैं बात। जब हम जो डर है शक्ति कमाया, तब एवरीबॉडी उसका हमारी एनिमी बन जाते। लेकिन ये भाई wanted to overcome all these things, I should first think of my own perfection. If I can develop that eye of perfection, then I can solve that of others. Get me? With words, with kinds and coins, both. Otherwise, not possible.
But I think when he mentioned that if I do not solve my problem, others will say you are running away from the problem, what he meant was that he is not able to himself reconcile to the fact that he is not taking care of his problem. He mentioned it via somebody else, but it was in his own mind that he is not able to get out of the problem, so he wants to take care of his own problem. And to mention that, he took the help of the other names when he said that the others will say you are running away. Actually, he is not able to reconcile himself. He says that I must take care of my problem. Now, if I have understood you correctly, the problems that come in life are taken care of by the mind, intellect, ego, body, etc. It has nothing to do with me.
One thing to be remembered. Problems always comes from outside. And it is solved by inner nature. Inner nature does not create problems. It is the outer nature that creates problems. Problems are created only when we isolate ourselves from all such things and take the advantage with selfish motive. To save oneself is not selfish motive, but to ignore others for one's own cause, that is selfishness. One thing is that selfishness is also all right when one is to save one's own self at the cost of others. Each and every individual has the birthright. Yes. But if he does not assert himself, then not only he will destroy, all else will be destroyed. If one is saved, then he can try others to save us. ये तो ग्रॉस लेवल के बात है। शार्टल लेवल में प्रॉब्लम दूसरा है। शार्टल लेवल में और भी शार्टल प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन शार्टलिस्ट में कोई प्रॉब्लम है भी नहीं। तो टू सॉल्व ऑल प्रॉब्लम्स one is to attain the Sattvic nature first. That means self-realization or self-knowledge is the only thing which can solve all sorts of problems, and nothing can solve problems. And that is called Sudharma, righteousness, which can save one and all without any description. Otherwise, only intellectual power or by economical power, nobody can do it. Then problems will create problems one after another. You will solve one problem, so many problems will develop out of it.
At times one really feels that I'm surrounded by so many problems. I'm in a
सोसाइटी
fix.
ऐसी है हमारी, हर देश के भी ऐसी है, जब हम दुख में रहते तो हमको लिव सिंपैथी लगाते, लेकिन कोई हेल्प नहीं करता हमको। और जब हम कुछ पैसा कमाया तो अपना ऊपर स्टैंड में था, तब हमको भी क्रिटिसाइज करने लगे सब आदमी, अरे वो ऐसी किया, वो ऐसी किया, ऐसी किया। कोई हमारी दुख का टाइम में तो कोई आया नहीं हमारे पास में सिंपैथी दिखाने के लिए, दूर से भी कहा।
How to deal with these people?
देखो ये तो समाज की विधान है ना हमारी, समाज में यही समाज में हमको रहने पड़ते हैं, तो कैसे? वेरी टैक्टफुली, वाइजली, आई मस्ट नॉट अलाउ। हाउ डू आई लिव, हाउ डू आई थिंक, बिकॉज वो अपना है, अपना को कभी लेन नहीं करना चाहिए, किसी को उसको देना नहीं चाहिए, अपना को दे नहीं सकता है। एक गाना में भी से भी हमारी है ऐसी आया, मेरे मन ना जाने कभी कैसे दो मैं अपना को, कैसे दूं मैं अपना को, मेरे मन ना जाने कहीं कैसे दूं मैं अपना को। अभी आप उनको कैसे दो? आप सेल्फ को कैसे डिबेट करेगा? हम पैसा दे सकता है, कुछ सामान दे सकता है, लेकिन अपना को कैसे दे देगा? एक बड़ा ज्ञानी आदमी भी हमको ये पूछा, ये तुमको हम ऐसे कुछ हमको बताओ जो चीज कोई किसी को नहीं दे सकता है, लेकिन जो चीज सबसे बड़ी चीज है, तब जो है आत्मज्ञान है, आत्मा है। आत्मा कुछ कभी डिवाइडेड नहीं होता है। यू कैन नॉट गिव योर सेल्फ टू एनीबॉडी, इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल, बिकॉज सेल्फ इज अनडिवाइडेड एंड सेल्फ इज वन। देयर इज नो डुप्लीकेट, देयर इज नो सब्स्टिट्यूट ऑफ योर रियल आई, बट false I are so many. We are talking here only with the help of false I, but real I will not discuss all these things because इसको कोई जरूरत है भी नहीं। जब हम सो जाते हैं, नींद में हमारी कोई किसी को सवाल जरूरत होता है, लेकिन that is very peaceful state. Nobody wants you to lose it, and that is the only indication of our perfection. Perfection should be like that, all free from worries, agonies and problems. In your deep sleep state there remains no problem at all. If there is any problem, then your sleep is not all right. Such is the nature of self-knowledge. It is absolutely free from the sense of duality. And it is possible for one and all. कोई चीज के लिए भी कोशिश करना, मेहनत करना, कैसे? एट एनी कॉस्ट, अपना स्वरूप के लिए हम जिंदा है बस। सो दैट शुड बी गिवन मोर इम्पोर्टेंस देन अदर्स। देखो, आप जिंदा रहे तो सबके लिए भी हम कुछ कर सकते हैं, अपना पिता, माता, वाइफ, चिल्ड्रेन, सबके लिए। खुद भी हम नहीं जिंदा रहेगा तो किसके लिए, किसको बाद में करेंगे? So everything depends upon my existence, is it not? But we should be carefully conscious of it. That does not mean that I should make myself or ourselves. isolated from others. ये बात नहीं करते मैंने. I should discover myself in each and all. That is the perfection. To make myself isolated from others, that sense of isolation is not perfection. Sense of unification and identification with all others is perfection. So, the whole thing should be understood from that standpoint. Any other points?
Thakur, I want to draw your attention to a problem in this country, which is also an opportunity, as all problems are. India is on the threshold of becoming the youngest nation in terms of workforce in the world. In our previous conversations, we have expressed worry about the state of spiritual education that our youth is getting at this moment. How can we improve the situation?
बाबा, जब तुम्हारी first you get a job, you try to discharge your duties first in order to prove yourself to be sincere, honest, and devoted to your service. And when you are successful, then you try for the betterment, for the upper one, the higher one. In this way, we think and do our job. And then we try to help our family members accordingly. But when we are not well jobbed, we cannot help them so much. So the more we can develop, the more we can help. But that does not mean that we will help them beyond our limit and capacity. Is it not possible to think like this? ये तो भी हम सोच सकते हैं कि हमारी ऐसी कोई मीन्स नहीं है जैसे हम उसको हेल्प कर सकते हैं, तब हम क्या करें? हम उसको देखो, हमसे नहीं चलेगा, हमसे होगा नहीं, बस डायरेक्ट. हमारे पास पैसा है नहीं, हम तुमको कैसे देंगे? हमारे पास शक्ति नहीं है तो कैसे देंगे? हमारे पास बुद्धि नहीं है, आप तुमको कैसे एडवाइस देंगे? तो दूसरा से एडवाइस लो. ये दोष नहीं है. जब तक हमारी वो कैपेसिटी तैयार ना हो जाए तब तक हम इसी चल सकता है, इसे दोष नहीं है. अपना को संभालने के लिए, बढ़ाने के लिए, अपना को परफेक्ट बनाने के लिए, ये भी within the process. So some or others, you say yourself, in order to get rid of all these troubles. इससे troubles कम ही हो जाएगा. क्योंकि जब तक हम उसके साथ रहेंगे तब दुष्ट आदमी जो है वो हमारे के लिए दोष ही देखेंगे, गुण नहीं देखेंगे. हम उससे भी अपने को अवॉइड करके लेंगे. तो अभी हमारी जो कंट्री का प्रॉब्लम्स है वो खाली एक लाख हमारी इच्छा व शक्ति से कभी नहीं हो. हर आदमी को कॉन्शियस बनाना. तो पहले तो खुद में अपना को बनाए, उसके बाद दूसरा को देखा जाएगा. पहली भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. पहले प्रॉब्लम तो हमसे कि हमारी शक्ति नहीं है, हमारी शक्ति बनाना है, हमारी बुद्धि बनाना है, हमारी ज्ञान बनाने हैं. उसके लिए हम क्या करें ना? फर्स्ट आई मस्ट बी केयरफुल अबाउट माई सेल्फ. I must be conscious about myself more and more than anything else. इसको कहता है जो चाचा अपना प्राण को बचाओ. हाँ, पहले तो खुद भी अपना को बचाओ, दूसरा को बाद में देखा जाएगा. हाँ, देखो जब हमारी हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान का प्रॉब्लम भी बना है, वही टाइम की बात कर रहे हैं. So, you have perhaps heard the name and activities of Shama Prasad Mukherjee. He was a strong personality. He gave one suggestion. ये देखो तुम पार्टीशन करता है, अच्छा ठीक है, लेकिन एक्सचेंज ऑफ पॉपुलेशन कर दो. लेकिन उनका बात कोई नहीं सुना. लेकिन पंजाब का बात सुना, बंगाल का बात नहीं सुना. बंगाल को डिवाइड किया हुआ, लेकिन उसको एक्सचेंज ऑफ पॉपुलेशन किया नहीं. उसके लिए सफ़र करने पड़ता है। अभी इस सफरिंग से हम लोग कैसे, जैसे वो कश्मीर का बात सुबह में ऐसे किया था, ये एक बात, एक प्रॉब्लम अकेला एक आदमी से कभी नहीं सॉल्व होता है। तो हम अकेला कैसे, क्यों इसको चिंतन करके अपने को नुकसान करेंगे? अफेक्टेड, आई विल बी डिस्टर्ब एंड अफेक्टेड।
खुद और परेशान हो जाए।
यस, इसके लिए चाहिए कि कोऑपरेशन with all others. If our countrymen would be cautious equally, then the problem will not remain at all. But we are not united.
No, but then how do we make them cautious?
अरे
Is there any way?
कोई नहीं हो जाए तो हम तो खुद अपना को पहले भी कॉन्शियस करेंगे, और ना करेंगे तो हम आज भी इक्वली गिल्टी। पहले तो अपना को सोचते पहले बताएगा तो अब तो दूसरा को बता सकता है, and others will be inspired like me. Then we can fight against all this thing. अभी तो इंडिया में कोई यूनिटी है नहीं, एक ही पॉलिटिक्स होता है। ये तो अपना मतलब क्या हासिल करने के लिए सब भी खुद अपना अपना रास्ता देख रहा है। They don't bother about all these problems. They want to maintain all these problems. So उसके साथ हमारी क्या संबंध है? और एक बात है, ये तो एक्सटर्नल नेचर का प्रॉब्लम है, सेल्फ का प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है। सेल्फ में प्रॉब्लम है भी नहीं, कि सेल्फ में कोई पार्टी नहीं है। मजा का बात है तो ही नहीं। लेकिन नोइंग फुल्ली दैट वी अगेन फॉरगेट द ट्रू नेचर। इन योर ट्रू नेचर देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल। The existence of Kashmir is in your mind, not in the self. When you are asleep, the question does not arise at all. So when you are perfectly conscious, you realize your true nature, there you will never find these problems, existence of these problems. मुझे को पूछा ये आपको क्या मालूम होता ही नहीं, तो क्या कश्मीर कौन है? हमसे अलग तो कश्मीर भी नहीं है, पाकिस्तान भी नहीं है, हिंदुस्तान भी नहीं है। वो जो कुछ है मैं है इसीलिए है। तो एवरीथिंग डिपेंड्स ऑन मी, नॉट आई ऑन देम। दिस इज कॉल्ड सेल्फ नॉलेज। सेल्फ नॉलेज इज द हाइस्ट वन। देयर इज नो नॉलेज सो परफेक्ट एंड सेल्फ सफिशिएंट लाइक द सेल्फ नॉलेज। सेल्फ नॉलेज इज द नॉलेज ऑफ वननेस, ऑफ नॉलेज। उस पर का प्रॉब्लम कैसे रहेगा? अभी कह सकते जो वो तो हमको अभी है भी नहीं, बनाना पड़ेगा in order to solve the problems. In self-knowledge you will find no difference. कौन है पाकिस्तान, कौन है हिंदुस्तान, कहाँ है? There is only one self existing everywhere, in everybody.
This is very difficult.
No, that is the reality. Reality is not difficult.
It is, but
the falsehood, to maintain the falsehood is difficult. देखो, हम एक चीज आपको सामने में रखा, आसान से दिखा, इसको पकड़ने के लिए हमारी क्या चाहिए? हाथ चाहिए। हाथ पैरालाइज्ड, हाथ कैनॉट कैच दिस स्टिक। हाथ में प्राण का शक्ति अटूट रहना चाहिए, उसके साथ मन का शक्ति जोड़ना चाहिए, उसके साथ बुद्धि का शक्ति। इसको हाँ पकड़ लिया, लेकिन अब छोड़ दिया, क्या मेरा त्याग से शांति मिलता है, लेकिन त्याग आते ही नहीं हमारी। I must give up all these things. These are not problems at all. It is imaginary. Existence of all these things is imaginary because it all belongs to mind, not of the self, not to the self. देखो, सुनने के बाद थोड़ा उसको रिफ्लेक्ट करना चाहिए, क्या सुना, क्या बोला उन्होंने, ठीक बोला कि नहीं। हाँ, जितना भी आप इसको याद करोगे इतना ही फायदा मिल जाएगा। हम ऐसी नहीं कहते ये बात सुना अभी तुम तुरंत भी इसको मान लो, नहीं, विचार करो तुम। जस्ट पॉन्डर ओवर दिस पॉइंट्स एंड यू विल फाइंड द आंसर विद इन योरसेल्फ। वही रास्ता, दूसरा रास्ता कुछ नहीं है। हम दवाई दे दिया, उसकी यूज करो, देखो उसको फायदा क्या मिले नहीं।
The whole thing basically comes down to, if I've understood you, Babathakur, is basically comes down to, first of all, we have to look at ourselves, correct ourselves.
पहले भी कहा जो आत्मानु विद्धि, नो दाई सेल्फ फर्स्ट देन अदर्स,
Rest all will be taken care of automatically.
डेफिनेटली। देखो हमारी हेड बराबर ठीक रहे तो हमारी पैर ठीक रहेगा, हेड ऐसी घूमेगा तो पैर ठीक रखना मुश्किल है ना। तो हमारी हेड तो है मैं खुद, तो खुद को पहले भी हम ठीक रखें तो हमारी फैमिली प्रॉब्लम तो ऑटोमेटिक सॉल्व हो जाएगा, कुछ बात नहीं है। घर का आदमी सब भी हमारी बात सुनेंगे, क्यों नहीं सुनेगा? बिकॉज आई एम एस्टेब्लिश इन दैट वननेस। ऐसी चीज है जब उसको कोई डुप्लीकेट है नहीं, ऑल्टरनेटिव है नहीं, सब्स्टिट्यूट है नहीं। हम इसीलिए सीधे बात भी कहते हैं तुम्हारे सामने में, इसमें मुश्किल कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन हमारी कल्चर से इसको हटा दिया हमारी सब रूलर्स लोग। अभी प्रॉब्लम बना के लोग कहते हैं अभी क्या करें, हाई प्राइस बना दिया, उठा दिया मार्केट में। अभी पैसा कमाने के लिए आदमी लोग को क्या जान कबूल हो जाते, इतना हाई प्राइस बनाने की क्या जरूरत थे? दे क्रिएटेड द प्रॉब्लम्स, दे डोंट लव द कंट्री एंड कंट्रीमैन, दे एक्सप्लॉइट द कंट्री एंड मैन in the name of politics and so nasty things. It is the disease of all other diseases, the cancer of all other cancers. Politics is not a real thing, but everybody is suffering from this because ये लोग अपना बुद्धि दोष से ऐसे बना दिया हम लोगों ने। लेकिन उसको मुकाबला करने के लिए एक सेल्फ नॉलेज इज देयर। तुम सोचो, तुम देखो, खुद तुम्हारी शक्ति मिल जाएगा, ताकत मिल जाएगा, बुद्धि मिल जाएगा, हाँ अपना अंदर में, तब मालूम हो जाएगा जो है गलत कहाँ है। इतना बड़ा देश है हमारी, महान देश, लेकिन इतना साधु संत आदमी है, कोई नहीं आत्मा का ऊपर में बात करते, खाली आश्रम की बात करते, फालतू खाली वो स्क्रिप्चर की बात करते। उससे क्या फायदा होगा? भूखा मरता है आदमी लोग, लेकिन उसको खाना नहीं दिया तो कहा जो तुम ऐसी करो ऐसी करो। अरे करने से क्या होगा? प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होगा? प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व के लिए चाहिए ओनली वन थिंग, द कल्चर ऑफ वननेस ऑफ नॉलेज, नॉलेज ऑफ वननेस, दैट कैन सेव ऑल फ्रॉम द प्रेजेंट द कैलामिटी ऑफ टोटल डिस्ट्रक्शन। देखो हम तो छोटे छोटे बात से सब चीज सबके सामने रखा। अब इट इज योर नॉलेज एंड ड्यूटी टू सी वेदर ऑल दीज वर्ड्स आर सब्सटेंशियल और नॉट। देखो विचार करके, उसको ठीक मालूम होगा तो यूज करेगा, और नहीं तो फेंक दो, छोड़ दो, कोई बात नहीं। यू हैव व्हाट्स राइट to accept or reject. But one thing is that you can reject all, but you can't reject your own nature. And I am talking your true nature, which cannot be denied. The more you listen, the more you will see, oh, I have never thought like this. ऐसे चिंतन करने से क्या होगा? करके देखेंगे, ये दवाई खा के देखेंगे जी इसको फायदा क्या है, बिना यूज करके तो कैसे बताएगा?